Welcome to the Sharpe Way Show. Yes, it is 7 p.m. on the East Coast, which means you got to look at my mug again. I love it. Thank you so much for showing up. I do appreciate the time that you guys spend with me these glorious evenings. Thank you so much. I hope I'm giving you some value. As always, what am I going to ask for you? Yeah, like, comment, share. Every time, please don't forget the algorithms matter so that people can see who we are and what we're doing and begin to do that so that Facebook thinks we're cool. Otherwise, they might shadow ban us. We've seen this happen before more than once. So please do that. And of course, check out my sponsors, theadvocates.org. Many of you have been doing it. Thank you so much for those of you who are doing it. And I've been posting them also, doing the other tests there. It's so good. Thank you so much. Making my sponsors happy so they keep this show going. I really appreciate that. And for those of you who like CBD products, anxiety, or anything else you're trying to deal with, any issue you're trying to handle, sleep, whatever the case may be, please head over to grownselection.com. Make your purchase and put in Sharpe Way 20 for 20% off. Well, I know this show's name is Last Weekend Today. I know it is. I'm starting to think this show's name on Tuesday should be called Tuesdays with Andy, because it seems like my governor, Andrew Cuomo, His Majesty King Andrew Cuomo, oh, Hillary King, he seems to be saying stuff every weekend that drives me crazy. And I feel like I'm falling for it. Like, it's like he's triggering me every time. Like, I should just be like, ignore him, he'll go away. But the problem is, he's not going away. So I guess I could try to ignore him, but it's not working. So yet again, I see things popping up constantly with him saying things. And this time, sometimes his hypocrisy is so insane. I can taste the hypocrisy in my mouth. And you guys love when I do it. So I'm going to take a few minutes tonight and I'm going to talk about my governor, His Majesty, King Andrew II. And I'm going to show you what he said today in a church on Sunday, because he cares about love. Yeah, he does. Because he cares about us and how, people need to, they need to talk about their mistakes and such. He's going to let him tell you, he's going to show us what it's all about. Because, when I'm sitting there thinking about, who is my idol, it's gotta be him.
Administration, my special guest in attendance, thank you. Thank you all very much.
You're more than welcome.
2020 will go down in the books as a truly bad year.
Is that right? I thought 2020 was awesome. I'm glad you've let us know it's a bad year. Appreciate that. Captain Obvious. He is Captain Obvious. I mean, I love that. And I don't know who he was talking to.
We all know that.
We all know that.
Can't wait for it to be over.
Because once 2020 is over, everything's magical. I guess because Trump's leaving. It's magical.
And celebrate a socially distanced New Year's Eve party.
So we're going to celebrate all right, we'll see how that works. Masks on, masks off?
We saw great division. We saw anger. We saw violence. We endured great economic pain and fear. And
we endured great economic pain and fear. Why did we endure so much economic pain and fear? Maybe because one of our governors shut us down. Maybe because he was incompetent. Maybe because he sent 7,000 elderly New Yorkers into their deaths in nursing homes. Could that be part of the reason? Maybe because you came on TV literally every day and told us the world was ending for days on end over the course of months. Could be that. But you know what? Maybe it's random stuff that you can't be responsible for. Let's see.
We lost too many lives.
Yeah, we did. That's true. Too many. I could think 7,000 too many, but that's the number that sticks in my head.
There were some silver linings.
Okay, tell me.
Families came together.
How could they? If they're bigger than 10, you told us no. You mean little families came together, not big ones. because you're literally going to fine us if more than 10 people get together. So little families, you should be more clear in your communication. You mean small families came together. And those who were old and who got COVID and who were dying in hospitals, they didn't come together because you wouldn't let them go visit their people in the hospital. So those people who you said, they died alone. They died alone, Mr. Love. They died by themselves. They didn't get together.
The quarantine brought my 3 daughters home.
The quarantine brought your 3 daughters home. The quarantine, which was random, right? That just happened. You had nothing to do with that. It's just the quarantine. What are you going to do? Sometimes quarantine shows up.
They are 25 and 25 twins and 23, 3 girls.
Mm-hmm.
And they had flown the nest.
Yep.
To make their own way because they needed liberation.
Yes.
And individuality.
Yes.
And freedom.
And note they left your state. Yes. Your own daughters abandoned you. Just think about that. Your own daughters. And they needed freedom and liberty, independence. Can't get that in New York. I run New York. I'll quash that. There's none of that. You have to leave my state. Your own daughters abandon you. That's how bad you are. And you smile because you can't imagine that anything would be bad. Your own daughters left. They came back. Oh my God.
And because Dad just didn't get it.
Yes, they're right. Your daughters, maybe they should be governor. They're smarter than you. They ran away from you and they realized Dad doesn't get it. Yeah, I might vote for your daughters. They're better than you.
So they flew the nest. But
Yep.
then COVID happened and they all flew back.
COVID happened. Just happened.
To the safety of the nest. And apparently Dad had gotten a little bit smarter.
No, he didn't. Dad had a big house. Dad had a big house. Dad wasn't any smarter. If Dad was so smart, they would have stayed. Dad's not so bright. Dad had a big house. They got no money. They came back to Dad. I get it. I'm not mad at him for it.
While they were gone. We spent quality time together. And one of the issues we talked about was the reality that we will make mistakes in life.
Is that right? We will make mistakes. Hold on. Okay. I have a feeling now that maybe he's going to admit being human, right? We will make mistakes in life. That's true. I think all of us will. Okay. Come on, Grandpa Wisdom. Tell me. Lay it on me. I'm ready. I'm ready for the wisdom. Give it to me.
We try not to, but we do.
We try not to, but we do. Okay. That's kind of Captain Obvious, but fine.
The key.
What's the key? Tell me.
Is to be strong and secure enough to admit your mistakes and admit your shortcomings.
So where are yours? I'm in. Let's do that. Let's me and you get together and let's start admitting our shortcomings. Let's do that. I would say something like, I'm just going to say something like maybe taking responsibility for running this state into the ground for the past 10 years, a point to where we are going to lose 2 House seats because of population loss of over 1.5 million people on your watch. Not only your daughters flew the coop, over 1.5 million other New Yorkers also flew the coop and ran from you. So I'm just kind of curious, is that part of our flaws? We're going to talk about mistakes? Or could it be, I don't know, the thing I've never mentioned once before, sending 7,000 elderly New Yorkers to their deaths in nursing homes? Could that be the thing we could talk about? Maybe. Could be that. Let's see.
Don't get defensive.
Don't. I'm with you. I'm not defensive. I'll sit with you in a coffee shop and we'll talk how bad we are. I'm in.
Denying the mistake only assures repeating the mistake.
I'm curious. Who's he talking to? Every time he talks and goes on his, let me tell you how smart I am. It's almost like he just read a book, like he just read The Secret, or he just read the book. He's like, let me tell you about this book I read. Yeah. But people read, The Secret's like 20 years old or something like that. And now he's going to start telling us about that. Let me tell you this book I just read called How to Win Friends and and influence people. It's just 100 years old, but I just read it now. So let me start dictating stuff to you. Is that what he's doing?
We've made mistakes during COVID. I wrote a book on the lessons to be learned from the COVID crisis.
You wrote a book, and it's not even done yet. Like, the COVID crisis isn't done, and you already wrote the book, and I bet you wrote it. I bet you were at home with a piece of paper, and you're like, okay, lesson number 1. That was you. You did that, right? You didn't tell somebody in your staff, hey, write some stuff so I can make some money and sound smart and give this book away. How about that? Yeah, no. Sure. Tell me all those errors then. Where are those mistakes? I got a feeling there's none in that book, but maybe.
I think of COVID.
Tell me.
As low tide.
Low tide.
For America.
So COVID's low tide for America. Okay, COVID's low tide. Vietnam War, not low tide. Death of MLK, right in the same area. Malcolm X, JFK, that's not low tide. COVID, that's low tide. That's the low tide. Okay, I'll buy it. What the hell? Civil War, that's not low tide. COVID, that's low tide. All right. Maybe he means in this area, like a last 20 years, perhaps. Okay, we'll see. So not the crash of 2008, 2009. That wasn't low tide. Not the addiction problems that we've had since then, to where now it's the first time ever that the average American has a lower life expectancy than they've ever had in the past. First time it's gone down versus going up. That's not low tide. COVID is. All right.
Do you know how when you stand on the beach and you look out at the water,
yeah,
and the tide is high,
yeah,
and all you see is the surface of the water,
yeah,
and the waves, and everything looks nice.
Look at that, and everything looks nice. All right. Okay.
And beautiful.
All right.
But you stand at the same point at low tide.
Yeah. Come on, Captain Obvious.
When the water goes out and the sea bottom is revealed,
yeah,
and you see rocks, and you see debris,
yeah,
and you see the ugliness that the water was covering.
So the beach is ugly. I thought you were Mr. Environment. How did the beach get ugly? It's fine. I guess that's bad. So when the tide goes out, the beach is ugly. When the tide comes in, it's beautiful. I'm not sure where you're going with this, but fine. I guess we're low tide and we're now ugly rocks. All right.
COVID was low tide in America.
Okay.
And it showed us the ugliness and flaws deep down in our society.
Okay, so it showed us the ugliness and the flaws which you've run for 10 years in our society. Now, let me guess. In the next, I don't know, 5 minutes or however long this thing's going to go on, you're going to now show all the mistakes that you made and how you're going to correct them. No, you're going to blame Trump. There's no doubt that you're just going to go, you know what? It's someone else's fault. It's all the hard problems that other people have, and that, by the way, me as governor have done nothing to fix in 10 years. All of these problems that we talk about, we've been talking about for at least 10 years, if not 20 or 30. You've been governor for 10. You fixed exactly, let me carry the one. Right, 0, none, not one of them. 0, not one of them.
And if we are smart, and if we are secure, we must now acknowledge the ugliness and correct it as we go forward.
That's what we must do. I'm just kind of curious. Who's the governor? Is that guy in the box to his left? Right. Is that guy the governor? Is he talking to that guy? The guy with the tie, that's the governor? I don't know who he's talking to. We have to do these things. Yeah, we do. Yeah. It's you. You're the governor. You've been the governor for 10 years. And then you're like, you know what? Now we got to, fix this stuff. Somebody's got to fix this stuff. You start fixing stuff. You're the governor. You're the one who's supposed to be fixing this stuff. You're the one who's supposed to try to make things better. You're the one who's supposed to have ideas and motivate us and show us and be the example for us so that we want to actually fix the ideas, not just stand there and be Captain Obvious and go, yeah, stuff's terrible. Huh, wish somebody would fix these things. You.
COVID low tide showed the lack of trust in the federal government.
Oh, there it is. It showed the lack of trust in the federal government. That's what it was. See? I got to give it to him. This was a good one. He actually blamed Trump without saying Trump. Well done. Look, I got to give the guy credit where credit is due. That was a good one. He blamed Trump without saying Trump. You know, hey, look, Your Majesty. That's a good one. That's a good one.
We have a vaccine on the way. Truly great news.
Great news. Oh, I love that.
But polls say 50% of the American people say they would not take the vaccine if it were available today because they don't trust the way this federal government has politicized the process.
So let me be clear. Polls say, because polls are always right. But anyway, let's assume that the polls are correct. Polls say that 50% of Americans won't take the vaccine because they don't trust the way the government is going to deliver it. Okay, let me be clear. At minimum, 95% of Americans have no idea how the government's going to deliver this. Not even clue one. They have no idea. How could they be unhappy with the way the government's going to deliver it when they have no idea? If you ask 20 random people on the street, maybe one would go, yes, I know how it's going to happen. And I'm probably exaggerating with the one. 19 will be like, I don't know. I guess they're going to hand it out on the street or whatever. They have no idea. But in this poll, 50% said, oh, I wouldn't take it because I don't trust how it's going to be delivered. That's the reason. Not because they don't trust the vaccine or because they don't think it's real or because they hate Trump or because they hate you or because they don't trust vaccines. No, that has nothing to do with it. It's because it's going to come in a blue truck. Got to come in a red truck, or else I'm not taking that vaccine. How can you trust the vaccine coming in the blue truck? Everybody knows that. Vaccines have to come in red trucks. Come on. That kind of leap is insane, but he does it all the time. So many times I've done this. He just makes leaps. He says, this thing is true, therefore all these other things that I want to be true, I'm going to make them true too. I'm just going to make them all true. Yeah, that's it. That's the reason. Because everybody's scared of Trump.
So New York.
Tell me.
And other states, 7 in total, will simultaneously review the vaccine approval with independent medical experts so people know it's safe.
So 7 bureaucrats from 7 states are going to review stuff because you know what people trust more than anything? Government bureaucrats. And if that is true, who is the one making sure that it gets delivered? Government bureaucrats. Wait a minute. I see. I brought this up before, guys, and this is what's going to happen. I'm telling you what's going to happen already. They're going to take the Trump plan. They're going to make 1 or 2 tweaks that have virtually no actual value. They're going to say, we fixed it. They're going to call it the Biden plan, and then the vaccine's perfect. They won't change the vaccine at all. There'll be whatever the vaccine is, it is. That's not going to change, right? That's why he said the way it's delivered, that's what matters. So they're going to say, well, we were going to, deliver on a Thursday, but, now we're delivering on a Tuesday. That's the Biden plan. Way better than the Trump plan. And now the vaccine's totally safe. Watch that happen. He's prepping for that.
Undocumented people.
Yeah.
Distrust the federal government and believe they may use the vaccine process to identify them for deportation.
How can they do that? This is what he said. How can they do that if the federal government's plan is to give it to places like CVS and Walgreens and to hand it out to people who want it? How does the federal government do that? Is that even possible? No, that's called fear mongering. And to be clear, it's also a smart move. When Democrats hear government going against undocumented, it does motivate them. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. That's a smart move by Cuomo to say that. It's totally not true. But it is a smart move to say that. If the current plan is to give it to chains, national chains like Walgreens, CVS, etc., like that, what's the government going to keep track of your social security number and not give it to you? Is that what happens now in Walgreens? No, none of that happens. This is like this. 50% of people don't like it because of the way it's delivered. Totally made up, fabricated, absolutely not true. And then this one, because they're afraid that the government's going to take over and deport them because of the vaccine. Totally not true. Because it's not New York City. This is New York State. New York City is a sanctuary city. My God, for those of you who don't know, in New York City, we give out New York City ID cards for undocumented workers. Yes, we give them ID. New York City issues ID cards to undocumented workers. Why would you be scared? For what possible reason? Undocumented workers go buy stuff in CVS all the time. Like all the time. Totally fabricated. Absolutely not true. Just made up.
New York must make sure that doesn't happen. We must restore trust in government because
we could do that. We could restore trust in government if you would step down. Why don't you resign? Why don't you resign and then take charge of that group of people to check out the vaccine? Why don't you become the vaccine czar? That's a good idea. Then we'll trust government again. I like that idea.
Because a vaccine will only work.
Yeah, when?
If people trust the government enough to take it. And that has to be our mission here in the state of New York.
So our mission in the state of New York is to make all Americans trust government. That's what he just said. So they'll take the vaccine because that's the only way the vaccine works. Did I just make that up? Or is that what he actually said? It's funny. I just say what he says. And it sounds insane when I say it. But it's what he actually said. The mission of New York State is not to make New York awesome, not to help out New Yorkers, not to make it a better state so that 1.5 million people don't leave again in 10 years. Not for that. That's not important. Who cares? What I care about is we have to get America to trust government because it's done such a bang-up job already. Let's just have them trust it. Or we could just make government be better so that people will just naturally trust it. Come on. Let's just get people over the head, call them bad, force them to love government, mandate vaccines, and, we'll just do it that way instead. And they clap. This is New York City, by the way. This is my city. This is my state. And you wonder why I told everybody when they said, well, Trump could win New York. I said, no, there is no way Trump's winning New York. Never going to happen in a million years. Never going to happen. Well, not never, but this not going to this time. Was not going to happen. Why? Because he just said, trust government. It's all about government. Everyone went, yeah. Oh, brilliant. Oh, that's why. That's why. They're clapping. The guy who's doing the sign of his case, like, what? And these idiots clapping? He can't believe it. He's probably not from New York because he's not there. So he's like, what? He won't even clap. He's like, what? These guys are crazy.
COVID low tide in America.
Mm-hmm. Tell me.
Showed us the federal government's incompetence.
The federal government's incompetence. Not yours. Nope. Not yours. The federal government's incompetence. Again, I'm going to give him credit, guys. He was able to blame Trump without saying Trump. That was good. Whoever wrote that or figured that one out, well done. That was a good one.
We needed to test people for COVID. Remember?
Oh, yeah, test. I heard about that.
COVID tests.
I remember that, COVID tests.
But we didn't have enough nasal swabs.
Didn't have enough.
Nurses and doctors battled brilliantly. In emergency rooms, but we didn't have enough masks and gowns.
We didn't have enough stuff. Crazy how we didn't have enough things like beds and masks and gowns. We didn't have those things. And it's weird how I was talking about this now literally 8 months ago, how to make that happen. How I had a plan, literally on my YouTube page, on exactly how to make this thing work 8 months ago. And I wasn't governor. I didn't have the information that you had. I figured it out. Some guy doing a podcast figured it out and posted it. And your team didn't even go, hey, this Larry Sharpe guy, that makes sense. Why don't we steal his stuff, put our name on it, and use it? I would have been happy if you did. That's why I put it out there. I want a good state. I want people who are happy and safe. I don't care who gets the credit. You can have it. I don't mind. You didn't, because you wanted to fight instead, because you couldn't even imagine anything else than what you were doing.
Now we have to vaccinate 330 million Americans.
Oh, my God.
This is a massive operation.
Is that right?
And by far the most challenging to date.
Hold on. Don't we every year vaccinate 100 or 200 million Americans every year when it comes to flu and rubella? Is that another one we do, right? No, don't we do it all the time? Isn't that a normal thing? Don't we vaccinate people all the time? Doesn't the military vaccinate about 2 million, give or take, people every year or every 2 years? I remember getting vaccinated all the time when I was in the Marine Corps. We figured it out. Now it's impossible. Now it can't be done. Now it's impossible. Somehow we figured out how to do that. But now we can't, because the federal government is incompetent. Because there's no way that literally a private company like an Amazon or a Walmart that delivers billions of packages over the course of a year, they can't figure this out. That's impossible. All right, it's impossible.
For scale, just think about this.
Let me think. Tell me.
Over the past 8 months in this nation,
okay,
with everyone doing COVID tests, hospitals, doctors' offices,
government,
we've done 120 million COVID tests.
Okay.
How long will it take us to administer 330 million vaccines?
Okay, tests aren't vaccines. You've told me that we ran out of everything, so we're going to have the 300 million, right? So we're not going to administer them. At least I hope we're not going to administer them. We're going to make them available. What kind of organization would be able at a retail level for people who wanted to come on in to take advantage of something like that? What kind of organization would ever be able to say, do it in almost every city in America, most small towns in America? Could it be maybe like, I don't know, a Walgreens, a Walmart, a CVS? They literally are in almost every town in America, already allowing people to go in and buy whatever they want. If you want the vaccine, just make it available. He acts like we have to go door to door. There are your children. Vaccine them. Is that what we're doing? I sure hope not. Yes, I did a bad German accent. Yes, I did. Is that what we're doing? Kicking in doors? I sure hope not. There is my fear. My fear is now and has always been. The reason why he cannot stand the idea of the private sector doing this is because he cannot control them when it comes to a mandate. That's my biggest worry. If Walmart does it, Walgreens does it, CVS does it, insert company here, you know what? Those employees are not going to follow his orders and force the mandate. They're not going to force the mandate. Will government agents? Yes. Government agents will. Yeah, they will. That's why he wants the government to do it. They have to follow his orders. And when the mandate comes, he can force them to do it. Government agents will absolutely follow his orders, and they will enforce the mandate, and they will kick the door in, and they will grab your child. They'll do that. CVS workers not gonna. Walgreens workers not gonna do that. Of course not. You have no control over it, do you? And that bothers you. That bothers you. You can't have control. People who don't want it might not take it. Ooh, you don't like that. You got to make sure you've always got that stick in your back. You don't take it off. Stick. That's him.
The federal government must learn from its mistakes.
The federal government must learn from its mistakes. Not you. Because you wrote a book on how awesome you are. And I bet that book is filled with how bad the federal government, how bad Trump is, and how smart and good you are. I bet that book's filled with that stuff. I might want to buy that book. I can read it aloud here, and we can all laugh. Some of you will probably pass out, but it's fine.
And dedicate the resources and supplies to get the job done right this time. Rhetoric only goes so far.
Rhetoric only goes so far. Who are you talking to again? I'm sorry, are you talking to us? You're a rhetoric machine. Remember love wins? Remember that garbage you said? I remember. Love wins. That was your answer. Love wins. I didn't see love win. I didn't see it at all. I saw love leaves. I saw people leave in this state. I didn't see love wins at all.
We don't want to hear anymore.
No,
we want actions.
We want action. Somebody's going to take some action around here. If I could just find the guy who's in charge. If I could just find the guy who's in charge, and that guy would just take some action. Oh, wait, it's you. It's you. The guy to take action is you. And you keep acting like you're some concerned citizen yelling at the town hall meeting. Is that what you are? You're the guy, get off my lawn. You're yelling at the town hall meeting. Well, you guys better do something about it. I voted for you guys. You better do something. You're the guy. It's you. Who are you talking to?
Because it is results that matter at the end of the day.
It is results that matter at the end of the day. Yeah, it is. 100%, brother. Yes, homeboy. It is results that matter. So let's see what our results are. A bunch of people dead from COVID. Still. 7,000 you sent to nursing homes where they died. That's results. I'll give you that. That's not good results, but that's results. I'll give you that. Results. 1.5 million New Yorkers leaving New York State in the last 10 years. Totally results. I'm sorry, that's actually data. The results are New York State is going to lose 2 congressional seats after the census next year. 2. That's results, brother. That is results. And they're yours. You get to own them all yourself. But you won't. You'll just point your finger and say, other people got to have results. I just yell at you.
COVID low tide in America.
I heard this before.
Also showed us the deep inequality.
Did.
In our country.
Deep inequality in our country. We've been talking about inequality at least 10 years. At least. I mean, anyone who's been around at least 10 years. All of that talk, 10 years about the inequality. I have a question. What do you do about it, New York State? What'd you do? Yeah, I don't have to click the on button because it's nothing. You don't have an answer. You wouldn't have an answer. You're waiting for someone else got to do something about this.
And the systemic discrimination in this nation.
Yeah, tell me about it.
That is the sad reality.
That's the sad reality that you just figured out now because you were too busy sitting on the beach watching the tide come in and out. You didn't realize all the inequality that was sitting in your state for the past 10 years. All the systemic discrimination, 10 years. What'd you do to fix that? Yeah, I don't think anything. I don't think anything. And COVID, it took COVID for you to figure that one out. Okay. At least you figured it out. So tell me how it was your fault and how you're going to fix it. I've been waiting a long time for this one.
And we must have the courage to face it and to admit it, because you will never solve a problem that you are unwilling to admit.
Who were you talking to? Who were you talking to? Because you, God, Shelley, if you just admit these problems, maybe you could fix them. Andrew, God, Jonathan, if you would just admit your problems, maybe you could fix New York already. God, if only the people in charge could admit their Oh, yeah, that's you, homeboy. You're in charge. That's you. I don't know who you're. It's like you're talking to someone else. The lack of self-awareness is astounding. If there's anyone watching this who has a psych background, you look at this guy going, my God, he might be a sociopath. Like he has no idea. Or he just has such disdain for us. It's that one. He has such disdain for us that he doesn't respect us at all. And he just says this stuff, assuming they'll never figure it out. They're too goddamn stupid. That's what he thinks. That's really what it is. He thinks we're all just so stupid. We don't care. Sadly, we keep voting for him. So we're proving him right. Because we keep voting for him again and again and again. So we're proving him right. He has shown us who he is. And we decide, well, yeah, we'll just do it again. See that guy now to his left, to our right? He can't believe what he's saying. He's like, what? Aren't you the guy in charge? You can see his face. Aren't you the guy in charge? Who are you talking to?
The truth is.
Tell me the truth is.
COVID killed Black people in this country at twice the rate of white people.
And I'm clear, the reason for that is what? Okay, all right, I'll take you at your word. What's the reason? Tell me.
The truth is, COVID killed Hispanic people at 1.5 times the rate of white people.
Gotcha. Tell me why, brother. Bring it home.
Those are ugly facts.
Facts.
The COVID infection rate was 2.5 times higher among Black and Hispanic people.
Okay.
And the hospitalization rate for Black and Hispanic patients was over 3 times higher compared to white patients.
Okay.
Those are ugly facts.
They are. But whatever led up to those ugly facts, unless it happened this year, which COVID happened this year, happened over the course of at least the last 10 years. When you were governor. When you were governor. So if these facts are so horrible and bad, were you too busy watching the tide come out? You didn't notice it?
COVID low tide showed that the existing health disparities in this country made it more likely that Blacks would die from the virus.
Aren't you in charge, literally, aren't you in charge of the certificates of need, which is, for those you don't know, is what a hospital needs, what a facility needs to open up in any area? They have to get one of those. He decides whether they get them or not. He decides whether they get them or not. Aren't you literally in charge of where hospitals and medical facilities pop up in New York State? This is literally your job because you decided so. You could have said, you know what? Go out wherever you want. Pop up wherever you want to pop up. You could have done that, but you didn't. You control it. If there aren't hospitals and medical facilities in certain places, you pick them. Who are you talking to? This is you. If you would have let the market itself, individual people, decide to service their own communities when they should have, they might. But not just that. You won't let people who are licensed outside of our state work in our state. So you have to live and work right here in New York State and be licensed here to work here. If you let others, they would go someplace else, like your daughters did smartly, to get the degrees or to start their lives, and they will come back to their communities and support them. They can't because of you. This is your issue. You did this. I don't know who you're talking to.
Black populations are 1.7 times more likely to have diabetes.
Yeah.
1.4 times more likely to have hypertension.
Yep.
1.3 times more likely to face obesity.
And all of that was true 10 years ago. This is not a new thing. Did you just read a Time magazine article? And you just figured this out? Oh, look, the New York Times. You know, Black people are in trouble in this country. Did you know this? Did you hear about this? I'm going to go on TV and tell some people. People should know about this. We knew this decades ago. Where you been, homeboy? I thought you're a New Yorker.
Obesity and 3 times more likely to have asthma.
You're so smart.
Those are the ugly facts.
Oh, my God. And they just randomly happened. I know. And you had nothing to do with it.
So now the vaccine is on the way.
Yeah.
Great news.
You just told me it wasn't.
But the big question now is,
tell me,
who gets the vaccine?
Who gets the vaccine? Who gets it? How are we going to figure that one out? God. Because we have to administer it. Or we could just let the vaccine company or companies, however many vaccines they come out with, hopefully more than one people can choose. We can just let places like Walgreens and CVS move it through their normal chain. They have a supply chain every day delivering stuff, other vaccines. We could just say, hey, connect with the people who made the vaccine. You know how many vaccines you usually do every year because you do that. Therefore, you know the number of people who are going to show up any given day or any time. You can just do the math. You have actuaries on staff. Literally, they have actuaries on staff who say, wait a minute, if we look at all the vaccines we did last year, assume they'll all rush in within a week or two, how do we then deal with that logistics? What do you think a company like a Walgreens, CVS, Walmart would be really good at? Logistics? It's literally what they do every day. Why do you have to be involved? It's like he has to. This can't be done unless I'm involved. If I don't show them what to do, they'll never get it right. That's what he actually believes. They'll never get it right without me being involved. But I'm not sure he believes that. My worry is this deal was made with the federal government, which means, and maybe I'm wrong here, but you guys know him, you New Yorkers know him. Maybe his cronies weren't involved. Maybe he couldn't get the payoffs of the cronies that he has here. His buddies over at Walmart and Wegmans. Maybe he couldn't get the payoffs there. Maybe that's why he's mad. Maybe he wants to make sure his buddies get their cut. Got to make sure he pays his donors back. Got to make sure he's grifting. Got to make sure that cronyism, New York is the state of cronyism. When it comes to cronyism, guys, I'm sorry. How do you think you're good with cronies? You're not. We got you beat. We are the most cronyist of the cronies. We got you. Illinois tries, but they screw up because their governors go to jail. Our governors don't. Our governors got cronyism down to a science. We are amazingly good at crony capitalism. There's not a state better. Well, maybe New Jersey, but New Jersey has kind of just melded the mob and government together into one entity. I'm not sure it's a fair comparison. Maybe. But anyway, my point being, when it comes to this, we got that. And he's upset. My cronies don't get their cut. That's a problem. Look, you can do all this vaccine. Nothing can fall here. That's what he's thinking right now. Nothing can fall here. That's what my governor's thinking. You can never do that, except they do it every year, all the time, constantly.
How is it going to be distributed?
Oh, how? How in the world can anything in this planet be distributed across the country? It's as if we'd have to have a system like a supply chain of national chains who could deliver stuff every day. How?
And will it be equitable and will it be fair?
Oh, there's that thing.
The Trump administration.
Oh, we said Trump this time.
Is designing the distribution plan.
Which by default makes it bad. Sorry, guys. It was good. But Trump touched it. That by default just makes it bad. So whatever this is, it's bad. Accept that it's bad. Trump touched it. It's bad.
And their plan basically has private healthcare companies administer the vaccine, hospitals, big drugstores, doctors' offices, etc.
You mean people who do it now? Is it me? Right? Am I nuts? He's looking with this, look at his face, with disdain. Yeah, these, big companies that do it now, and doctors, stupid doctors, and medical facilities, these idiots. Who does that? You mean the people who know how to do it, the trained professionals whose job is to do this, who have been doing it for literally decades. Those people? And he's disdain.
It sounds fine, right?
Yes, it does. It sounds amazing. It sounds perfectly fine. It sounds intelligent. It sounds smart. It sounds like a really good plan.
But hold on.
Okay, I'm holding.
We know.
What do we know?
That our Black, brown, and poorer communities have fewer health care institutions.
Yeah, but this is CVS and Walgreens. Yeah. First off, we know they have less institutions, even though I was the one who decided where they all go. I screwed them all over personally. That's how I know, because I screwed them over by not allowing these places to go there. So I know they're screwed because I'm the one who screwed them. So I know that's true. He's right. That's true. You're not wrong. But it's not just that. See, then you forgot that part. You forgot the part about CVS and Walgreens and all those places. Are you telling me there's no doctor's offices? There's no Walgreens? There's no CVS? In poor neighborhoods? So only the rich people get CVS? Is that true? I don't think that's true. I literally don't know anybody. And maybe there's somebody like, 8 people who are hiking in the Adirondacks now in North Country, New York. Maybe they can't get to a CVS. Maybe those 8 people can't. But the other 18 million New Yorkers, we're good. We could get to one if we want it. We really could.
Their communities are too often health care deserts.
Look at him smiling because he knows a new word. Someone taught him that. someone said healthcare desert, teach him that one. He'll say that word like 14 times because it's a new word for him. Just read that after his Time magazine article about how black people are in trouble in this country. What? Then someone gave him healthcare. He was ready to jump out there and talk some trash. Go to church on Sunday. Talk about healthcare deserts. Healthcare deserts, for those you don't know, means you are more than 60 minutes away from a medical facility. All right. We're not talking medical facilities only. We're talking CVS's, Walgreens, and medical facilities. Members from last week, same garbage you brought before. I'll say it now. Does anybody know anybody in your whole life who is more than an hour away from a CVS, a Walgreens, any of those chains, a Dwayne Reed? Is anybody more than an hour away from them? I mean, again, maybe 8 people who are hiking down Adirondacks. Fine. We'll use one of his helicopters. He has more than one. We'll use one. We'll pack it up with some vaccines and a nurse, and we'll fly over to Adirondacks. And if anybody wants it, we'll give it to them. See? Problem solved. Done and done. I don't know what he's made this up. This is fabrication, but it's a smart one. Because many Democrats are very attuned to hearing black and brown communities and caring about them. And I do too. I want to be clear about that. I do too. I also care about black and brown communities. I come from one. Of course I do. With that in mind, this is not a problem. There's CVS's and Walgreens in the Bronx. I know. They exist. There's drugstores in the Bronx. They exist. Queens, Brooklyn, they're all over the joint. These types of Dwayne Reed, they exist. They're here. There's no such thing as a Dwayne Reed desert. That's not a thing. He's just made this up.
That's why we have more underlying conditions.
No, it's not because Dwayne Reed and Walgreens. No, they can get drugs. Way more than that, my friend.
And that's why the COVID death toll is so high for black and brown communities.
All right, so let me walk down this road with you for a second. What this guy said, the reason is all the death toll is because of these healthcare deserts. Okay, first of all, that does not include Walgreens and CVS's. That doesn't include that. So that it doesn't affect this at all. Doesn't affect the vaccine in any way, shape, or form. He made that up. But the idea of a healthcare desert, that's a real thing, meaning there aren't facilities required near certain areas. That's true. I'll say it again. Whose fault was that? Literally his. He controls the certificates of need that say where facilities go. If all the things figured out, black people are in trouble. He figured that out last week. Good for him. Hey, better late than never. Well done. I'm glad you figured it out. You're the one who did it. And you're talking about, well, the federal government better have a plan to put up new hospitals in New York State, a plan to allow medical facilities to pick up in New York State. The federal government has to have that plan. That's Trump's fault? I guess so, because it's not his. It's never Cuomo's fault, ever. He is literally saying why he's a bad governor and still looking for someone else.
We're not going to make the same mistake again, period.
So you're going to get rid of all certificates of need and allow local communities to have their local facilities? They're clapping. These are people who are probably literally in healthcare deserts. Yeah, if somebody would just take charge of stuff. If only we had like the leader here who would help us. Like if only the governor of New York would... Oh.
Majority black zip codes are 67% more likely to face a shortage of primary care doctors.
Why? Random? Just cuz? Cuz we're mean like that. Is that the reason? Could that be it? Or could it be because you won't put hospitals where they need to be? Or could it be that our system is so bad right now, the way you deal with Medicare and Healthcare Plus, that anyone else can't afford to live in those areas, so they won't go there because they can't make any money? Could it be that?
President talks about CVS and Walgreens.
CVS, Walgreens, those losers.
The national chains.
Sure.
But they are mainly located in rich communities.
That's what I'm saying. I go to my CVS. Everybody's rich. Everybody's rich. Oh, I went to a CVS, Lamborghinis out front. BMWs out front. Oh my God. Women in furs, walking their poodles. That's all I saw. So a guy with a monocle. I mean, come on. How can people buy this garbage? How can they buy this? CVS is only in rich areas. Just the filthy rich go to CVS. CVS. There's a CVS in my neighborhood. Two of them. I guess we're all rich. I didn't realize. I'm going to go buy my Monopoly Man hat right now. Get a white mustache and a monocle. And we're good. I didn't know I was rich. Clearly I am. Clearly all my friends out here, rich. Because we go to CVS. Because that's only in rich neighborhoods. Walgreens. Oh, filthy rich Walgreens. You go to Walgreens? Probably they got a helo pad on most Walgreens because rich people, they helicopter in. What is he talking about? Most Walgreens have yacht repair. I don't understand this man. He said it with a straight face. And people are buying it. Why are you buying this, New York? Why are you buying this? Only the rich people go to CVS. Excuse me. Got to get my yacht fixed. I'm going to stop by CVS on the way.
Communities, not in poor communities.
No, nothing's in poor communities.
My friends, we can't compound the racial injustice that COVID already created.
COVID created racial injustice now. I'm just saying, guys, you're watching this too, right? This isn't me. I'm not making this up. He just said we can't compound the racial injustice that COVID made. I mean, before COVID, New York was the most perfect racial thing in the world. Everything was perfect. We didn't have one racial problem ever. Everybody was awesome and hugging and kissing. Life was great. Then COVID came. All of a sudden, man, there's problems now. People are poor. They don't get to go to CVS like the rich people do. And they're clapping. Yeah.
And let me be clear.
Oh, please be clear.
The Black and brown communities that were first on the list of who died cannot be last on the list of who receives the vaccine, period.
I agree, period. That ends with a T, by the way.
We cannot.
Yes.
And we will not let that happen.
I love that idea.
The Reverend Dr. King,
I love that idea. I'm with him. I love that. Let's do that. So the only way to do that would be for you to be in charge. Is that right? You couldn't just say, hey, Walgreens and CVS and other chain stores and local clinics and such, when you make your plan to deliver stuff, just make sure you deliver it fairly out to poor communities too. You could just do that. You can make it part of your insurance plan. You're going to indemnify all these companies anyway. You always do. So because you're going to indemnify them anyway, make part of the indemnity clause, you have to make sure you deliver it fairly, regardless of zip code. Done and done. You do it via contract. You don't have to get up here and preach. You don't have to be in charge. It's a simple contract negotiation. They don't care. They make money either way. They don't care where the vaccine goes. They're not going to get these brown and black people. Nobody's doing that. Nobody's doing that. But he wants to act like there's some guy wringing his hands in a room, will give out this vaccine, but make sure no brown and black people get it. Nobody's doing that. They're going, we're going to make a killing on this vaccine. I hate that word. But we're going to make a lot of money on a vaccine. A lot. Let's give it out. I don't care who it goes to. I don't care how it gets there. How do we make our cash? That's all they care about. So put it in a contract, equitable distribution based upon zip code or something like that. Easy day. Contractually done, completed, move on. Nope. Let me grandstand and talk about how bad Trump and the federal government are.
Spoke in this magnificent church, said of all the forms of inequality, injustice in health is the most shocking and the most inhumane because it often results in physical death.
That's
COVID
health,
proved Dr. King right.
So before COVID, that wasn't a thing. I remember watching, and some of you who are my age may remember this. I remember watching a Good Times episode. Yes, the old 70s, 80s TV show, Good Times. I think it was CBS. Good Times. Jimmy Walker. I remember watching an episode then that was talking about black men and high blood pressure. That was 40 years ago. Homeboy, where you been? Where you been?
We need to make special efforts for the vaccine to reach the underserved Black, brown.
No, we don't. It's a contractual issue. Write it in or you don't indemnify them. Done. It's literally that simple. No indemnification unless you're fair by zip code. Done. They won't care. All they care is the check clears. The check clears, they're good.
Poor communities. The private market alone will not do it.
Yes, because the private market wants to kill brown and Black people. The private market won't do it. Yes, you put it in the contract and they'll do it because they don't want to be sued when their vaccine goes bad. And there will be bad results from some people in vaccines. There always is. And when that happens, they don't want to be sued. So they're going to be indemnified. And you and your cronies will indemnify them because you always do. So you will. So put in a contract, don't do that. They're going to go, okay. That's as far as it'll go. Okay. Done. That's it. I'm sorry. And then lawyers will charge us $1,000 for that. But that's all they'll do.
We need to enlist community groups to distribute the vaccine in their community.
We have to enlist community groups. So now you care about community? I've been talking about community for 3 years. Now you care about community. Now you do. Because those private people, they're just going to be mean. But communities will be good.
We need faith-based groups that the community...
You shut them down from COVID. Now you love faith-based groups? You shut them down for COVID. You told the Hasidic Jews, I don't care about you and your dad. I'll lock you up. You told the Hasidic Jews you would lock them up. There's a current lawsuit now from Brooklyn Catholics trying to stop you from shutting them down. But you care about faith-based groups? Since when? Since now? When did that happen? I guess you're just going to squash the lawsuit then, right, and agree? Is that what you're going to do? You're going to tell the Hasidic Jews you were just kidding? Sorry? Am I the only guy watching this? Now he cares. Oh, okay, now you care.
Trusts to distribute the vaccine. We need medical teams and outreach teams.
Medical teams like those from medical facilities, which you just insulted? Like those who work at pharmacies that you just insulted? Like those kind of medical teams? You can't get medical teams from outside the state because you won't let them because of New York State licensing. Where are these people going to come from? Magic? You have magic powers. I didn't know you had magic powers. I should have guessed.
Teams going into public housing projects. And
why do you have to go into public housing projects? Why do you have to deploy teams? For what possible reason? Unless you're going to mandate. Isn't that what I said earlier? Unless you're going to mandate, what possible reason would you need teams? And how is that local trust community going to feel? You're living in public housing, and all of a sudden, government agents come knock on your door to give you a shot. What could go wrong? What could go wrong? Where's Johnny? Johnny's 17. I don't think he's had his shots yet. Where's Johnny? That's not scary at all. I thought you were worried about undocumented workers being so scared. That's not scary at all to them, is it? Where's Pablo? He needs to get his shot. Oh, right? That's fine. Or you could just have it available in your local CVS, your local Walgreens, or any of those local places where people get vaccines now, and say, go get it. There it is. Enjoy. You know what people who want the vaccine will do? They'll go get vaccinated. How do I know that? Larry, you're making that up. How are they going to figure out how to get vaccinated? How are they going to know this? They get vaccinated now. They just go to CVS, get vaccinated. It's what they do now. This is not a foreign concept. If you want the vaccination, you walk over to CVS or get in the subway or jump on the bus or your bicycle or your car, whatever, you go. Now, if you're telling me there are certain people who can't get to CVS, no worries. That makes sense. No, that makes sense. Then you make part of your deal. Again, this is contractual. That in certain areas, they're going to have some mobile vaccination sites. That's it. Put it in the part. You're going to pay them $1 gazillion anyway of taxpayer money. We're paying for this thing already, guys. You know this. So throw another $10 million on. Who cares? It's already going to cost us $6 billion or whatever it's going to cost. So another $10 million on top of that and say, hey, CVS, when you get this contract, whatever, you have to have 20 or 50, whatever the number is, of a couple mobile sites to go around. And the local communities will knock on doors and say, hey, it's right there. You need me to help you to get there? You need me to help you down the stairs? You need me to help you, whatever, drive you over? That's what communities do. That's not mutually exclusive from the Walmart or the CVS. It makes no sense unless you want to mandate. I keep going back to that. Unless you want to mandate.
Low-income communities.
Because low-income community people don't know how to go to CVS. That's what he's saying. Well, you're low income. How could you possibly understand what a vaccine is? How could you know how to go to a drugstore? You don't know that. You're a low-income community. You need my help. You need my help because I'm the governor. So I got to help you because you could never figure out how to go to CVS. You're low income.
New York State.
Tell me.
Will mobilize an army.
I thought you didn't like the army. You literally said, I don't want. What can an army do? I don't want. He's going to give the vaccine to a general. What does the army know? But you're going to make one yourself. Because then you're the general of that army. Yeah, you are. So when it comes to fixing problems, you don't know who's in charge. Who's in charge of this joint? This New York State's falling apart. Someone better fix this thing. I know who's in charge, but I got to tell this guy, he's just, get his act together. Oh, army? Oh, I'm the general. I'm the general.
To vaccinate all New Yorkers fairly, equitably. No state will do it better. Speaker Carl Heastie is here. The Assembly is here. The Senate is here. We've discussed it.
We've discussed how we're going to control our state. Because, our state's falling apart because of our leadership. You know what we need more of? Our leadership.
We will do a better job.
No, you won't.
Than any state in the nation.
No, you will not.
That is our promise.
You're lying.
But
you will not. No, my promise is you will not. You will not. You've just made that up again. You've just made stuff up.
But
tell me.
We need the federal resources to
I'll do it if you pay me. That's what he just said. We'll be the best ever if the federal government does it for us. We will be so good, so amazing if the federal government gives us money. I promise you we'll be great if the federal government gives money. Then, yeah. I mean, if they do it for us, we'll be great. If the federal government, if Biden bails us out in February or whatever, those is a big check, then we'll do it. We'll still blame Trump and we'll still take credit, but federal government.
New York State already has a $15 billion deficit.
Oh, more than that, my friend. More than that. Your BS loan schemes to make it look like it's only 15, it's more like 50. So, yeah, that's another lie.
The federal government has been starving state and local governments. And
the federal government, I want you to hear this. The federal government has been starving states. Our budget in New York State is about $190 billion. Usually we're about $4 to $6 billion short of that. So we usually intake 185 or so billion dollars, but we're starving. Florida has more people than New York State. More. Their budget, half. Florida with more people than New York State. More. They're about 20 million. We're about 18. They're about 2 million more people than us, give or take. Their budget is half our budget. But we're being starved. Starved. No, my friend. We are way overweight. We ain't being starved. We're not being starved. You eat too much. You eat too much, my friend. We're not being starved. You just eat too damn much. There's no way this state's being starved. $185 billion is more than at least half the countries in the world. At least half the countries in the world, bigger than their budget, yearly. But that's our budget in New York State. What are you talking about? Made this up. Federal government starving us. Or you could not suck as a governor and we could easily survive on less than $185 billion a year. Somehow Florida does it at half. So we don't have to go to half. We don't have to go to Florida numbers. Let's find a middle point. A middle point. How about 135 billion? How about that? A middle point somewhere. How about that? 140 billion. I'll cut it there. 140 billion. How about that? 140 billion. We'll do that instead. If we did 140 billion, we'd have about a $30 billion a surplus. We can't do that? No. You can't do that. New York is not being starved. At the federal government's job to feed us. It's not. He says that. It's not his job to feed us.
They know it.
They know it.
Their own federal government, CDC, says it will cost $6.6 billion.
It'll cost their own federal government says it'll cost $6.8 billion. So give us money. But he's the great governor. You can't fix yourself at all. If only some guy would take charge of stuff.
To do a fair distribution program, they've only provided $140 million. All this federal government does,
tell me, what does it do?
Is point fingers.
But not you. Oh, not you. You literally took this entire segment to point fingers. That's all you did. All the federal government does is point fingers, but I don't. Wow. Can you taste the hypocrisy like I can? Like I can taste it right now. That's some high quality hypocrisy. That's like, wow. That's some of the best hypocrisy I've ever had. That is delicious. It's the hippiest of hypocrisy. I don't think it's great. I love it.
It's about time they look in the mirror.
Yes, they should. Yeah, they should. I know. I'm just saying, I know somebody else who should look in the mirror. I know somebody else. The federal government should absolutely look in the mirror. I agree. You're not wrong. We agree on that. Me and you, buddy. We're on the same page. The federal government should absolutely look in the mirror. And on top of that, in addition to that, you should look right in that mirror and say, man, I suck. 'Cause you do.
Don't tell us. It's a state's responsibility.
It's not a state's responsibility to take care of a state. Who made that up? It's as if there was like some amendment. I don't know, like the 9th or 10th Amendment. I'm just making that up. As if there was some kind of amendment that would say that states have some kind of right and responsibility. If only we had like an amendment, maybe like the 9th or 10th, if we had that. But obviously we don't. So I guess it's the federal government's responsibility.
Without giving the state the resources to do the job.
If you don't give everything to the state, how can the state do anything? I mean, come on. We only raise $185 billion every year in taxes and fees and regulatory crap that they destroy us with. That just that. How can we survive on that? How can we survive on double what Florida has? Come on, he's unreasonable.
You fool no one. We call that in New York.
Tell me.
Passing the buck.
Passing the buck. I know. Who's in charge of this state? Someone's got to figure this out. Passing the buck. We only call that in New York. Passing the buck is only New York. No one else can use pass the buck except New Yorkers. See, because in New York, we call it that. Outside, they call it other stuff. They call it, I don't know, sniffing the glue. Whatever. Not passing the buck.
Without passing the buck.
Pass that buck.
And you're not going to get away with it anymore.
Oh, you're going to stop them. Cuomo, you're going to stop. You're not going to get away with that. Cuomo. You're not going to get away with that. He lost the election already, dude. You're yelling at the guy on the way out. He's closing the door behind you. Stay out. That's what he's doing. Better run. That's literally what he's doing. As Trump's walking out the door, he's like, you better run. What are you going to do? It's terrible. Getting clapped. Get Trump. Bad guy Trump. He's
President
evil.
Trump must learn the lesson.
He's got to learn the lesson in the next 60 days that he's president. You better learn that. Yeah. You taught him a lesson, Cuomo, as you're begging him for money. I love that. He better learn and give me some money. I'll do a great job if he gives me money. He better learn and then stay out. Yeah. That's my governor. Crybaby.
Stop the abuse. Stop the division.
The division. God, you know what? Only Trump divides America. Not him. Not Cuomo. Cuomo's all about love. Hugging people. The man who said his words, there is no room for conservatives in my state. That's the man. He said that, for those who don't know. He said that. That's then it goes, stop a division. Shush. Stop a division. The man who blames Trump for everything. Stop a division. Why are you dividing people? Trump, God.
Stop the anger. Stop the hatred.
Stop that anger and hatred. Because that's what like Walgreens and CVS, they're all about. They're all about anger and hatred. That's what they're about. I was in a Walgreens. I went there and they're like, shh. They said, can I, shh. Are you rich enough to be in here? I was like, I'm sorry. I showed them my deed. They were like, that's not enough money. They threw me out. So, hatred.
Stop the narcissism.
The narcissism. Do I have to even say anything? At this point, the hypocrisy is starting to not taste good anymore. There's just so much of it. You ever have too much of a good thing? I'm like, it's so much. I don't know if I can. Yeah, that's even too hippie for me. I mean, that's too much hypocrisy for me.
And spend your last months actually trying to help people.
Because he didn't. He just hurt people for 4 years.
And repairing the damage you have done.
You know what? You're right. I'm going to agree with you. You know what? I'm going to give you credit where credit is due. Trump could spend the next 2 months of his presidency trying to undo any damage he's done. Okay, you know what? Nice. How about he does that and you spend the next 2 years trying to undo all the damage you've done in the past 10? How about that? Why don't we both do that? Why don't we have Trump look back and say, look at the damage I've done. Let me try to repair what I've done badly. Let me look at my mistakes and try to fix them. I think Trump should do that. I'm with you. And in addition to that, why don't you look in that same mirror you want Trump to look in? Look in that mirror and say, how do I fix in the next 2 years the 10 years of damage you've done to my state? Why don't you do that? And when you take that oath to do that, I will scream about Trump all day long. I promise you I will. The second you go, Larry, you're right. Let me look and let me try to fix all the damage I've done in 10 years. I will be all about screaming at Trump. Fix your problems, Trump. I promise you I'll do that. Why don't you go first? And I mean that. You go first. I'll spend the next 60 days yelling about how Trump should fix the damage he did. Look in the mirror, Trump. See what you did wrong. Fix it. 100%. I'll do it. You first. Because you've done far more damage. It's not even close. You've only had one state. And you've basically made 1.5 million people leave the state, including your own daughters. And you still haven't got the message. You first. Then I'm in.
Who gets the vaccine and who doesn't get the vaccine is not just a question of morality.
It's not a question of morality at all. Not just a question of morality. It's not one at all. It's a contractual question. Put it in the contract. Done. Why are you making this something it isn't? I know why. I'll show how woke I am. Because everything has to be about brown and black communities. Don't get me wrong. This is about brown and black communities too. And be clear, it is. And we don't have to jump on it. We can just solve that problem with a very simple contractual change.
In principle, it's a legal question.
Yes.
I've tried to work with the Trump administration.
You've tried to work with them. Oh, stop with division, I thought. You tried to work with those people. All about hate. Killing brown black people. That's all they care about. God.
Argue morality and principle.
Why did you argue morality and principle with them? Just say, hey, you want New York to do this? Put this in the contract. Done. That's what I would have done. Put this in the contract. New York's in. Done. Put it in the contract. New York is in. Let anybody who wants the vaccine go get it. If you want to add a piece to where people who want it but can't get there, get some kind of help, sure. Let's enlist communities to do that. I'm sure there are tons of little communities who'd be happy to shuttle people who want the vaccine to places to get them. I'm sure. Happens now. It happened for voting. It happens. This is not a terrible, horrible thing that no one can do.
For years. You're better off trying to argue with a rock.
But don't divide, though. He just called them a rock. You can't argue with morals. But stop the division. You just insulted them.
But it's not just about morality.
Tell me, Mr. Morals.
I hope the Trump administration opens their eyes.
Yeah?
But I'm dubious.
You're dubious.
I'm not going to allow New Yorkers to be bullied or
You're not going to allow New Yorkers to be bullied. You mean by somebody other than you? Yeah. I'm not going to. You going to come in there and bully New Yorkers? I get to bully New Yorkers, not you. These are my guys, not yours.
But to be abused.
Oh,
I'm
I
not
abused
going
them,
to
not
allow
you.
the injustice to continue.
The injustice to continue. The vaccine hasn't come out yet. Continue. You mean under your watch? So you're not going to allow your injustice to continue. What you've done, that's bad. If you could only find the guy in charge of New York and tell him that, maybe you'd be okay. Yeah, clap. Yeah, yeah.
So let's look at the law.
The law.
There can be no more fundamental right in this moment than access to the vaccine.
There can be no more fundamental right. I have to hear that again. This is the kind of dumb hyperbole that we have to hear.
To continue.
Look at this just insanely stupid hyperbole.
So let's look at the law.
The law.
There can be no more fundamental right in this moment than access to the vaccine.
So your number one right now. First Amendment, for chumps. Second Amendment, that's a suggestion. Third, fourth, fifth amendments, whatevs. Ninth and 10th Amendment don't even exist. So what's the number one right? Right to a vaccine. I think that was the second and a half amendment. If you look deep, see, the problem is you guys haven't read the Constitution as deeply as I have. If you look in between the second and third amendment, there's a little like 2.A. I think it was Monroe who wrote it. He wrote 2.1, right to a vaccine. He wrote that. It's the 2.1. It's the most important right. He literally said right. So now that's a right. A right to a vaccine.
Any plan that intentionally burdens communities of color to hinder access to the vaccine.
What plan exists that does that? He just made that up. Any plan that purposefully hinders. So literally, again, he thinks there are people in boardrooms going, all right, when we get the vaccine out, how do we hurt black people? How can we make sure that Mexicans get completely screwed? Guys, no, that plan doesn't purposely hinder black and brown people. Louis, what's wrong? You're fired, Louis. Bob, come in here. Give me a plan that screws black and brown people or you're fired. That's happening? Stop. I've been in these boardrooms. Nobody cares. That's not what anybody's thinking. They're only thinking, how do we get max profit out of this damn thing? How do we make sure we don't get sued? And that sounds horrible, I know. I'm just telling you what actually happens. In these rooms, they're thinking, how do we not get sued? That's it. If the lawyers go, here's how it's airtight, we don't get sued, they go, done deal, we're good. Nobody is thinking, how do we purposely screw these brown people over? Nobody's thinking that. That is completely fabricated, never happens, doesn't exist. I'm just, the hyperbole, the righteousness of this man, and the sad part is, people buy it. They just eat it up. I got to hear it again.
Then access to the vaccine. Any plan that intentionally burdens communities of color to hinder access to the vaccine deprives those communities of equal protection under the law.
So now it's equal protection under law. Who's doing this?
And equal protection is enshrined in the Constitution of these United.
Now you care about the Constitution. See, it was that 2.1 right to a vaccine that Monroe wrote in at the end. That's what happened. It's at the end he wrote that in. Like some people already signed it already. Then he put the amendment in, that he added that piece. Then other people signed. That's what happened. It was a confusion on when people signed. That's why you forgot that one. It's Amendment 2.1 right to a vaccine that he found.
States, the Supreme Court held in Plyer versus Doe, 1982, denial of certain basic rights to, and I quote, an isolated group poses an offense.
Yes, denial of rights. That's true. How did you connect a vaccine that's optional for people to all of a sudden a right? How is that a right?
Front to one of the goals of the Equal Protection Clause.
Agreed. If you wouldn't, let's say, I don't know, people in New York City who, more people of color are there, not have a gun, That might be an affront to the rights, the Second Amendment, which you think doesn't exist, or not letting people assemble the way they want to assemble, like the Jewish community. That might be an affront to. No, that's not. If you don't let people go to the CVS where the rich people go to get a vaccine, that's the most important right. All the rest of the rights, whatevs.
Trump administration's proposed plan is such an affront.
So he literally just said, again, if I'm wrong here, please tell me. He just said the Trump plan is that plan. So the Trump plan is purposefully trying to hinder Black and brown people from getting the vaccine. So the guys in the Trump cabinet were sitting down, make this plan. Let's make sure Black people and brown people don't get it. That's what they said. And everybody was like, yeah, of course. Trump, 100%. We know that. Screw those Black and brown people. Let's make a plan that gets them. Let's take a chance on destroying our legacy, destroying everything, so we can get those brown Black people. That's what they did. That's what he's saying. And people are like, yeah, sure that happened.
I tell you today, if
Lies.
the Trump administration does not change this plan and does not provide an equitable vaccine process, we will enforce our legal rights. We will bring legal action to protect New Yorkers. The state of New York will join with the Urban League and Mark Morial and Arthur Rice and the NAACP, Hazel Dukes and Derek Johnson.
Yeah,
and we will
I'm not pandering at all.
make sure every life is protected equally, because enough people have died and enough injustice has been done during COVID.
During your administration, absolutely true. Yes.
It stops now.
I love it.
It stops with this vaccine.
It stopped now. Finally, I'm going to be a governor. It's been 10 years. I'm going to do it now. I was kidding the last 10.
And it's not just right for the Black and brown community.
Oh, whoa, wait a minute. I thought it was all about them. Uh-oh. Is there more?
It's smart for everyone.
Everybody's smart.
Because the virus shows us the simple truth.
Look at that.
Unless everyone is protected, no one is protected.
No one's protected.
COVID doesn't discriminate.
Yeah, it does. It does discriminate. You've shown me this. If you have more than 10 people in your house, COVID attacks. If you have less than 10 people in your house, it doesn't. It totally discriminates on the amount of people you have in your house. Doesn't matter how big you have a studio in Brooklyn that's literally 13 by 13, 10 people scrimped in that area, totally fine. You could have a 4-bedroom colonial someplace, 10 people, fine. Once 11th person comes in, COVID goes, gotcha. That's what happens. COVID clearly does that. You've showed it. We have to close our business down at 10 o'clock because at 9:59, COVID's still sleeping. Chilling out. Oh, 10. Let me go kill some people. Oh, they shut the restaurant down. Now I can't kill people. That's what COVID does. You've shown us this more than once. You've shown us that in New York City, my city, we can't eat inside. But we build a little house outside on the street. Literally, a house we build on the street. Wooden, hard plastic house on the street. So there's even less parking. The guy walks from the restaurant across the sidewalk and feeds us in that little house. COVID can't touch you. COVID can't touch you if you're on the street. See, if you're on asphalt. Concrete can kill you. Asphalt, street, COVID can't touch you on that. Can't touch you on that. Put it in the street. So COVID's very discriminatory. Very much so. You've shown us in all your random rules. If you stand up, you got to put the mask on. If you sit down, you don't. Because COVID hovers around this area right here. You stand up. Oh, gotcha. If you don't, you don't need a mask on. You're good. That's how that works. So you know that already.
Neither should we.
I agree. Punish everybody.
As Dr. King said, we are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality tied in a single garment of destiny.
Yeah. MLK. That's what he would have thought.
Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly.
See that?
COVID was low tide.
Low tide.
And we saw our ugliness.
Yeah, no, I kind of saw it before. I'm just saying. Yeah, I think a lot of New Yorkers, 1.5 million New Yorkers, they saw your ugliness over the past 10 years, including your daughters, and they all left. So I don't think it was COVID. For those of you who don't get this, COVID was the best thing that could have happened to Cuomo. He acts like he's so, it's terrible. He loves it. He can now erase 10 years of his horrible governing and go, see, COVID, everything was good before that. Then COVID happened, and then everything happened. And, of course, COVID's Trump's fault, so clearly he's perfect.
The truth is,
tell me the truth.
COVID is not the only virus.
What? It's not.
Attacking us.
What else is?
We are being attacked. By other viruses.
Tell me what it is.
COVID weakened our immune system.
Mm-hmm.
And when your immune system is weakened.
We're going to another analogy. This is going to be as good as he was hanging on a beach watching the stuff go back and forth. Okay. The beach one was kind of crappy, actually. How about this one? COVID knocked our immune system down. Okay. What's the other virus?
Then you get attacked by other viruses. And that's what happened to America. We're being attacked by multiple viruses at the same time.
There's multiple viruses.
And we must fight them all.
We got to fight every one of these
because racism is a virus.
That's the virus.
And sexism is a virus.
So racism and sexism, that's the virus that happened when COVID hit. So before COVID, no racism. What was that? No sexism. Didn't exist. But then COVID happened. Boom. Now we're getting hit by racism and sexism all over the place. Because racism and sexism also, they wait until viruses hit. That's when racism and sexism comes out. The idea you would say something so insanely stupid drives me crazy. But it's smart. There are lots of people in New York who are like, yeah, see, he gets it. He's so woke. He's going to get claps to this garbage.
And discriminate.
And be clear, I'm not saying sexism and racism don't exist. Of course they do. And they existed before COVID. And there were many things we could have done as a state and a nation to make things better. And none of them include a vaccine. They include things like stopping the licensing that he had direct control over to allow poor black and brown communities to grow. That's one thing. Ending the certificates of need that would have allowed poor black and brown communities to have better medical facilities that he was in charge of. Ending the war on drugs, legalizing cannabis in New York State that would stop all these, at least half of the damn police fighting with the poor and brown and black communities. He could end that too. So these things existed lots of times ago, years ago, a decade ago. He did nothing for it. Now all of a sudden, it's the virus did it. Okay.
Is a virus, and injustice is a virus.
That's a virus.
And division is a virus.
Division's a virus, as he's yelling, and these dumb Trump people don't listen. They're rocks. He called them rocks. Don't stop dividing.
And distrust is a virus, and abuse of power is a virus.
Says the man who asked for emergency powers this year and got it. Says the man who created a mask mandate across this state. That's the man who goes, and abuse of power. That guy just said that. Yeah, it's too much. The hypocrisy's too much now. It's, I like ice cream, but at one point you're like, that's enough. It's enough ice cream. I'm at enough ice cream now. I'm at enough ice cream.
And hatred is a virus.
I am at enough ice cream.
And our America is better than this.
Yeah, but you're not. You're not.
America is strong enough to admit her mistakes.
But you're not.
And
our America is. You're not wrong. You are not.
Grow from them.
Yeah, you can't.
Our America is not a low tide America.
You just said it was.
Our America is a high tide America. Our America rises up and confronts that which diminishes our belief in our America's potential.
Okay, tell me when it happens.
Promise.
But you need to do it for us?
Remember Langston Hughes.
Tell me. Because you're in a black church, just quote black people. That's not pandering. At all. Not pandering at all. In a black church, quote black people. That's not pandering.
Is the dream the dreamers dreamed. Let it be that great, strong land of love. Oh, yes.
Love again.
I say it plain.
Tell me.
America never was America to me, and yet I swear this oath, America will be. And New York will lead the way.
No.
Thank you, and God bless you.
Guys, I punished you for an hour and a half, I know. But this is my guy. This is like how I have to live in this state. And some of you watching have to live in it too. This is the guy that runs our state and that we keep voting for again and again and again. 3 times he's won an election in our state. This guy, he's horrible. And we still, you might think your governor's bad. Your governor's wonderful. Your governor's wonderful. You don't have mine. Mine's the worst. Mine's a terrible, horrible hypocrite who takes no responsibility for anything. He's just a bad person, a terrible person, nothing but bad. And all he has to do is just not be terrible. And he is. Absolutely. So, oh my God, it's horrible. It's horrible. Yes, Cuomo's in charge of passing the buck. That's true, Chad. Thank you so much. Yes. Who's in charge? Yeah, he's looking for the guy in charge. It's him all the time. Yes. All he does is gaslight. That's all he does is gaslight. Yes. The signer's praying again. He can't believe he's got stuck with this. He can't believe that. Yes. Everywhere I go, people are wearing masks and abiding by all the stupid regulations, yet numbers are rising. Ryan, I see the same thing. Numbers are rising in New York City. I can't find a person, and I'm not joking when I say this. I walk around my neighborhood. I see people. I drive around my neighborhood. I have a car. Not everyone in New York City has a car. But I have a car. I drive around my neighborhood. I can't see anybody who doesn't have a mask. Like, I can't find them. Every single store, everyone I see has a wear a mask or don't come in sign. I mean, that's not everywhere in New York. New York's huge, obviously. But where I go in Queens and some parts of Manhattan where I go, there's not a store that doesn't have a mask rule. There's not a store that isn't wearing masks. Not a store. Somehow it's rising. I don't get it. His brother is much better. His brother's terrible. His brother's terrible. That family's full of a bunch of people who are bad. Absolutely terrible. Yes. He's contemplating whether or not he'd better serve to pick his nose and stop signing. Yeah, I think he's like, well, you know, how are you going to do? Yes. Yelling Cuomo, stop the talking. That's good. Very good. Yes. Can't stop throwing up. Anyone have pep? I know. It's just at one point there's just too much hypocrisy. It's overflowing. Yes. Yes, indeed. I'm live. He's not. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Yes. Stop the hatred. COVID is racist. Got it. Yes. COVID. And of course, the people who care about putting out COVID, they are literally coming up with some plan to purposefully hurt brown and black people. Purposely. Absolutely. Yes, he is the biggest narcissist ever, and he acts like he isn't. It's terrible. Yes, absolutely. Laugh, Larry. Feel free to cackle like a hyena. Yeah, it's not professional to laugh so much, but I'm trying to solve this stuff off the cuff because I want you guys to. I want to share it with you. I want you to see this and enjoy it with me. So I'm trying to do it off the cuff. So sometimes I crack a joke that I didn't know was coming, and I laugh at it. So I apologize for that. But I want you guys to understand and feel what I feel. I'm trying to share this with you, and that's why I sometimes laugh at it because I'm reacting. This is a reaction video, basically. Yes. Let's see. That's not King Cuomo. That's a dictator. Nice, Ryan. Nice. Very good. The sad part is 60% of New York residents would literally defend this man no matter what he does, even if he declared himself king. Yeah, some actually want him to do that. They want him to do that. Absolutely. Yes. Man, I love when Larry gets hot. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes. Is that a tiny with potato testicles? I'm not sure what that is. Yes. Yeah. This a-hole is going to be POTUS someday. I'm not sure we can go there. Right? Remember, Democrats need somebody with more empathy. They really do, right? Democrats are far more about empathy than Republicans are. Republicans are about empathy too. They are. But Republicans respond more to strength than empathy as a general rule. He projects strength all the time. He's always right, always right, always right. He doesn't project empathy very well. It's too fake. I think people are going to get that. I think they will. Sorry. They'll get that one compared to other Democrats. I should be clear on that. One compared to other Democrats. When you compare him to many Republicans who just yell and scream too at him in New York State. If you ever watch Republicans, they just do the same thing. They don't show anything. So the last Republican who ran against him had no strength. He showed nothing. He was nothing. And of course he ate him. Ate him for dinner. Of course he did. Yes. Absolutely no integrity in a Democrat. They're all the same as this jackass. Cuomo is the poster boy for the Democratic Party. Look, there's some good Democrats too. They're not all bad. There's some bad Republicans too, right? I'm a libertarian. I'll hammer Republicans too. This guy's just my guy. So yeah, he's the worst. Absolutely. Yes. You would first have to agree on the supposed rate some fields all over. Yeah. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? I love being colorblind. There we go. See? I love that. I don't think King Andrew is going to like, comment, or share. I think you're right. I don't think he's watching this. I hope his people watch this. If they're smart, they would, but I'm not sure they will. The problem I find is when the right gets mad at me, the right tends to yell directly at me, which I happen to like better, actually, because when the right yells at me, at least I'm communicating, and I have a chance to change their mind, to chat with them, and a chance to make something happen. The right doesn't always agree with me. Sometimes get mad and they walk away, but they tend to confront me. That's BS. That's wrong. They tend to be that way. So I have a better communication, even though they're yelling at me, but I'm communicating. The left just ignores me. They just walk away. They just dismiss me. They don't talk to me at all. And that's the hardest part. If you see the Sharpe Way show, I have more Republicans or right-leaning people on than I have left-leaning people on, because not that I don't reach out to them. I reach out to left people all the time. They don't respond. The right gets mad at me. And I say, come on my show and yell at me then. It's fine. I just want to talk. I'm fine with it. So the right actually comes on more often than the left because of that. So they tend not to. So Cuomo's a travesty. Yes, absolutely. Yes. He's tearing up. That's great. Yes. I love that. Being an American patriot, I will fight for the right for someone to say something I disagree with. Yes, I agree with you. 100%. Yes. That's the virus. Cuomo's the virus. I like that. Very good. I love that. Good. I love that. Yes. All right. That means it's a mandatory. Yes. See, that's my problem. Do I think people should have access to the to the vaccine? Of course I do. Absolutely I do. And if people have access to the vaccine, what's going to happen? Let's be realistic how this works. Same as a flu vaccine or anything else. When people get the vaccine, if people don't get horrible reactions, and I hope they won't, so far it looks like they won't, I hope they won't, others will follow. That's what happens. There's always early adopters, and then others follow. So you make it available. And to his point, he's right. I don't want brown and black communities to not get it. Of course I don't. Many will try it. They'll have the vaccine. If they don't get sick and they see COVID going down, others will go, oh, this works. They'll jump in and they'll do it. Of course they will. But that's how people will begin to trust government. That's how they begin to trust the vaccine. If you just do it in a way that isn't oppressive. Don't be oppressive. We'll trust you more. Don't be oppressive. Yes. Yeah, 2.1 amendment, right to a vaccine. That's correct. 2.1. Yes, absolutely. The signers get ready to run. Yes, absolutely. Yep. Shouldn't Cuomo shut down pharmacies, doctor's offices, and medical facilities since they're so horrible? Yeah, they're so terrible. They hate brown and black people. Why didn't he shut them all down? Shut down pharmacies. You're not CVS. Only rich people go to CVS. I mean, come on. That's where the wealthy people go. Come on. You know that. Totally right. Yes, absolutely. Trump's hiring a clan to distribute the vaccine. Yeah, exactly. Yes, Sean. Like the people make the vaccine like, money's good, but not from brown and black people. I hate that money. That's bad money. I want money from white people. That's all I want money from. Man. I think I saw him sign, I'd rather have fiery constipation. I saw that too, Jonathan. I think you're right. Yes. It's called the straw man boogeyman that Cuomo will save you from if you let him out. Yes, you are totally correct. He's making these things up to make you afraid. That's exactly right. See, they're going to do this. If I'm not in charge, I have to be there. Absolutely. Yes. The government does not grant rights. They protect them. Supposed to, Bruce. Supposed to. We grant the government privileges. Understand this. I wish more people would understand this, Bruce. I wish they would. But you saw them. They're clapping. Yeah. There's a lot of people who don't get that. I'm with you. There's a lot of people who don't get it. I hope more begin to get that. Absolutely. Yes. How about your right to deny the vaccine? Ask the Bar Association. Yes, Kathleen. Many people don't know this. The New York State Bar Association, lawyers, you would assume, maybe I'm wrong, I don't know this for sure, but one would assume that some of these lawyers have some constitutional knowledge, maybe even constitutional lawyers, studied the Constitution at one point. You would assume some. They literally said that if people won't take the vaccine, it should be mandated. This is the New York State Bar Association. Bruce, they don't get it either. It isn't just those people clapping in that church. The New York State Bar Association hasn't figured this out either. Maybe we send a note over to them, let them know what's up, because they don't get it either. They literally said that. Our Bar Association said, mandate. Because science wins. You are right. Absolutely. Because science wins. Yes. COVID does discriminate, but it's racist. Yeah. Yes. I love that. It's both. Absolutely. It's both. 100%. So let's see if I can grab a couple of these here. The Art Sharpe Comedy Hour. I'm trying. Absolutely. I'm trying. Yes, I'm trying. The Comedy Hour. I love it. I like art. Art Sharpe's good. It's fine. I like art. It's good. The more we control the virus, not people, the quicker we get back to business. Yes, I agree completely. Yes, I think we can, Roy. I think we absolutely can. I'm with you. And I think it can be done. My biggest worry about this is with the masks, right? Before they mandated masks, people were starting to go towards the mask already. This was already starting. Then the mandate came, and it came from Democratic governors because they had the biggest cities in their state. Then by default, that became political. And it shouldn't have been. Masks aren't political. You should do it because people want you to. They're scared. It helps. Do it. You should. I'm not saying if you mandate. You should just do it. You should. I do it. When I'm out with people, I ask them. I did 62 events in 5 weeks across all of New York State in October. Nobody got COVID that I know of. No one said anything. I did. My family, no one got it. No one. Why? Because I social distanced and I wore a mask when I was inside. Now I did. That's what I did. I played the right games, Roy. Nobody got it. I did the right stuff. Nobody got it. Fine. Because I thought we should. But no one forced me to. I could have walked around in a mask. People wouldn't have got mad at me. It's in New York. Nobody cares. Could have done it. I didn't. I think we should. And the more that we don't force, as you mentioned, not the people, the more people will comply. When you don't force people, they tend to comply. That's just human nature. They tend to. Once you force them, now it's a fight. I want the vaccine to come out and be available for everybody. I promise. I'll bet you money. I know exactly what's going to happen. Some people will take it because they believe it and they want it. They'll take it. Assuming that the vaccine is a good vaccine, meaning it doesn't hurt people. I'm assuming that. I don't know if it'll be true. But assuming that's true and there aren't massive adverse reactions, there will be some because there always are. But assuming there aren't massive ones, if there's like a 98%, no one gets 99%, people don't get hurt, whatever the case may be. Hopefully 99 point something, I hope. Others will begin to take it and will vaccinate without any force. It will happen. And those people who have issues, who shouldn't take a vaccine because they have personal issues because of it, they won't. And that's fine. I'm okay with that. Yes, absolutely. All right. Fearmonger much. Yes, that's kind of what he does. Yes, absolutely. Yes, correct. And chicken wings are not food. His Majesty has deemed that true. So that's absolutely true. Yes. Cuomo, we won't take Trump's vaccine. Yeah, what is wrong with him? How about, Chili Jack, you decide if you take Trump's vaccine or not. Not me, not him. How about you decide? I'm all about that. You decide if you want to take that vaccine or not. I hope it's a great vaccine. I hope it works. I hope people don't get hurt. And I hope once that happens, I hope lots of people take it. That's what I hope. But I don't get to decide. I don't choose what you put in your body. I don't. You do, and you do only. And if you're comfortable, please take the vaccine. And if you're not, please don't. It's up to you. That is what I'm talking about. Yes. All right. All restaurants must shut down by 10 p.m. Yes, to stop COVID. Exactly right. Yes. That's exactly right. Yes, absolutely. 100%. All right. Yeah, I'm sorry. Then Trump said we won't send it, so now he's suing him. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Just totally crazy. So, guys, you must be stressed. I know you must be stressed. Well, Luigi, yeah, he kind of is the bad. I know you guys are stressed. If you're stressed, there is an answer. There's several answers. But one of the answers you can take is, hey, it's Larry Sharpe, host of the Sharpe Way show. Want to talk to you for a couple of seconds only about CBD products. Look, if you think that they should be part of your health regimen, or they already are, you're dealing with maybe pain or anxiety or some other issue, head on over to grownselection.com. Check them out. They're a libertarian-owned company. They understand that You own your body and should treat yourself the way you think you should be treated. Of course they do. You do too, and so do I. So head over there, check them out, look at their CBD products. If you think they fit your health regimen, put in Sharpe Way 20 and get 20% off your order. Look, I want you to support the Liberty Movement, libertarian-owned businesses, and the show. They're a sponsor. If CBD is or should be part of your health regimen, grownselection.com. Check them out. Purchase Sharpe Way 20 for 20% off. Support the show. Support the movement. grownselection.com. That guy's smart. Yes, Illinois begs to differ. You think your governor's worse? You're wrong. Mine's the worst. I'm just saying. Mine's the worst. Yes, your governor. Nope, mine's worse. Yeah, okay. We all have some bad governors, but come on. Does yours do that? Can you go on almost every week with something horrible he says and rip it to pieces? I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. Flu disappeared though. Yeah, this is the other thing I think. In the end, I do think when this is all over, COVID is real. There's no doubt. I don't want people to think that it is some type of a hoax. It's not a hoax. It's real, but it has been blown out of proportion. That's true, and I think in the coming years we're going to find out that it was blown out of proportion. Right there, some element of the deaths weren't actually COVID deaths; they were COVID-related deaths, things like that. We're going to find that out, but that doesn't mean it's not real. It is real. It does kill people. Absolutely, it does. It just isn't as bad as they've said it is. And I think we're going to find out later that it was. And we're going to regret. We're going to look back at this time 50 years from now, 30 years from now, whatever, as, wow, what a bunch of idiots we were. That we didn't do the right thing, that we just ran from fear and did terrible stuff and screwed up completely and made this far worse than it had to be. When this came, I don't mean to be flippant. I mean to be forward with everyone listening. When something like this happens, sadly, we're going to lose people. I would like us to lose as few as possible, but we're going to lose people. That is how life works. Sometimes bad things come. I learned that very young. My father died when I was a kid, cancer. I was 11, 12 when he died. I watched him die over the course of 2 years. Sometimes bad stuff happens, and that's going to happen. What I'm trying to get at is we should accept that it's going to happen, but prepare the best so that we're prepared on the other end, on the other side. Because if we're not, when the bad thing happens, when it's over, more bad things happen because we weren't prepared for it. When a bad thing happens, and it will happen to all of us, has happened to many of us, probably everyone listening, a bad thing's happened to you or your family. When that bad thing happens, you have two choices. One, let it destroy you. That's an option, and some people do that. Or prep for the other side. I'm saying we have not prepped for the other side, and that's what we should have done. We were so busy trying to batten down the hatches and just survive the day and just let's have nobody die. Because of that, more people did. We did not spend anywhere near enough time prepping for the aftermath. And I spoke about that for the election. I spoke about that 8 months ago. I talked about the aftermath because I saw it was going to be bad. No one else seemed to. No one else seemed to. What we forget, and I learned this from the military, and you veterans know what I'm talking about. When we lose someone, their journey's over. They're dead. Their struggle's over. It's the people remaining that suffer. They're the ones that suffer. That veteran who got blown up by an IED, who's dead, his pain's finished. His tour is over. His family deals with that for the rest of their lives. All the people who are getting hurt and killed from COVID, whatever number that actually is, I don't know what the number actually is. It's the survivors who are paying the price. We didn't prep for them. We didn't prep for them. The one thing you talk about with a virus, here's an actual virus that isn't the virus, but acts like a virus. Suicide. I'm not joking. This isn't some, he's doing his flippant little, it's like the waves coming in and out. It's not that garbage. Suicide is contagious. As people commit suicide, others copy. That's what happens. We didn't prep for that. And all the other bad things are going to happen in the coming years. That's what I'm more concerned about. That's what I'm more worried about. The America was never great statement is all that I needed to hear about this man. I remember that. Yes, I showed that other time. America was never great. Says it again. He thinks America sucks. He does. He thinks America sucks and thinks it sucks, and he's going to be the one who fixes it. We got to get it better. It sucks. Thinks it sucks. You know, I want to try to give credit again where credit is due. When you talk to most Republicans, there's an old saying, which I agree with, the saying, if you want to know what's wrong with America, ask a Democrat. If you want to know what's right with America, ask Republican. They're both correct. The problem is Democrats won't even acknowledge what's good, and Republicans won't acknowledge what's bad. Both are right. The Democrats, when they say bad things, the stats he was using were accurate stats. I'm sure they were right. I don't think he would rely on the stats. It was his spin that was so horrible and wrong and terrible. But I'm sure his stats were correct. So let's take those stats. Let's try to fix them. How about that? What winds up happening is nobody fixes anything. That's what winds up happening. So Michigan governor made me think New York might actually have the worst governor for once. Yeah, she's bad, but come on. She does one bad thing. We've been getting hammered for 10 years. Come on. Come on. So, yes. Thank you for being Larry. Great talks. Thanks, Bruce. I appreciate that. Yes. He spent 10 years making sure it was never great. That's true. Absolutely. He's a mobster governor. Yes, I agree. I tell the story often, but I want to say it again. When I crossed the state in 2018, I met many politicians, many mayors and local Congress people, not Congress, assemblymen, state senators, many of them. And one of them said to me, he said, and he was a Democrat, he said, Larry, Cuomo is what happens when the henchman becomes the boss. That's what he said to me. That's what he's about, him being is the mobster, a hard guy, you know, that kind of guy. Punishment, vindictive, nasty, like that. So I've gone to other people and I've asked other people who know him, right? Other state senators. This guy said that. Every one of them, I've told him a dozen, at least maybe more. I'm just making up probably more of a dozen. Every one of them goes, yeah, that's right. None of them go, no, him? That's not him. Every one of them goes, yeah, that's him. They all agree. He's a mobster. He's a bad person. I talk about this. You know, when it comes to, I have a terrible mayor too. I got them both. Terrible mayor. My mayor de Blasio was a terrible mayor. And I have a terrible governor. But they're different people. De Blasio, my mayor, is actually a true believer. Like, he believes in his heart, if you would just give me total control and turn us into a communist state, we would be great. He believes that lie. It's not a lie to him. He believes that fairy tale. That's a better way. He believes that fairy tale. He does. You know, I know, Bruce, I know I'm taking 80% of your money. If you just give me 90%, then it'll be that perfect socialist utopia I've been telling you about. I know I got 3 gulags, but the 4th gulag, that's the one I need. Once I have 4 gulags, then we'll have that socialist utopia I've been telling you about. He believes that. He believes a fairy tale. Cuomo is a bad guy. He doesn't believe any of it. He would be a Republican, a Libertarian, a Democrat, a communist. He'd be whatever it takes to control power. He doesn't believe any of it. He just wants to be in control and dominate people. Whatever party would get him there is what he would be. He's a bad person. My mayor is just delusional. He just believes fairy tales. But he does believe it. He's a true believer. How do I know that? My mayor, the Upper West Side of New York State, for those of you who don't know, Upper West Side of New York City is a very wealthy area of New York City. People pay $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a month in rent just to live up in that area. It's a very wealthy area of Manhattan. And in that area, my mayor thought, you know, homeless people are in trouble because of COVID. You know what I should do? I should put homeless people on New York City taxpayer dollars in I'm not joking, in luxury hotels in the Upper West Side. This actually happened. You can do your homework if you want to. Did it. Well, now you got some family who drops $5,000 or $6,000 a month in rent, walking outside. They see homeless people having sex in the streets because, you know, the homeless population has a huge chunk percentage-wise of people who have addiction problems, mental health problems, a huge chunk compared to the non-homeless population. So, of course, you're going to have these problems in front of you. Of course. That's what they saw. And when they complained, you think, well, he'd be smart. He's my donor base. These are wealthy people. I want to stay in New York City. Let me make a change. He didn't. He doubled down. Of course you should. What's wrong with you? People are in trouble because of COVID. They might get COVID. Of course you should give up your neighborhood for them. What's wrong with you? He doubled down. Why? True believer. True believer. He is all in the fairy tale. He does believe it. Cuomo, when it got bad, he was begging the rich to come back. Remember him? Cuomo wants that money back. He's begging the wealthy to come back. De Blasio's like, if you're not a true believer, leave my communist utopia. Different people. Both bad. Don't get me wrong. Both bad, just different. So, yes, to your point, Cuomo's a mobster. That's true. He's not a true believer. De Blasio is a true believer. No doubt. Yes. All government's a sham. What am I going to do? Yeah. I can't fight you on that one. I can't fight you on that one. Yes. Newsom is dumb. Cuomo's actually evil. Yes, thank you. You get it. Exactly right. Yes, absolutely. But having government is comfortable. This, Ryan, I got to tell you, this is true, right? There's a piece of this that we have to understand about human nature. When you have government all around you, it's someone to blame, right? If only I had a better king. If only I had a better king. It's not my fault. It's because we got a bad king. Someone's got to pay for this. It's got to be government. It allows us, and this is a bad thing, but I'm just saying it's true. It allows us to remove responsibility from ourselves. It allows us to always blame somebody else, right? Blame somebody else. It's not me. Somebody else. The government will take care of it. If only they would. There's some truth to what you're saying. Absolutely. It's very true. I wish it wasn't. But again, I actually don't mind the average American wanting someone else to help them. I'm okay with that. But when it is the image or idea of big government, it's not personal. It's not human. When it's community, it is. When it's community, it's someone you owe. You want to help them in return. It helps build bonds of community, right? If I'm in trouble and I go to my local public assistance office, and the bureaucrat that doesn't even live in my neighborhood, lives in a place, drives in or whatever subway's in, stamps my paperwork, says, next, take your money, go away. I feel like, oh, thanks for the money. I walk away. But what if I had to go to a charity instead? And there were people there who are in my community who were like, Larry, we see you're in trouble. Dude, how do we fix this? Let me get you some cash and some food. How do we get you the job you need? Now, all of a sudden, when I get helped, if it's my community, I feel closer to my community. It's not a magic guy or thing that I don't even, it's my community. He said, people in my community helped me out. I was in trouble. They threw me some cash. They got me a meal, some food for my family, and they helped me to find a job. Man, I'm in. I'm in. I want to help this community. I want to give back. And when I'm back on my feet and Ryan, you're in trouble, dude, come to my house. I got you because you had me when I was in trouble. I got you now. I'm in. That's how you build community bonds. That's how people go, I got to help out. That's how people don't want to leave. Why would I want to leave a community that supported me when I was down? I'm staying. And I'm going to ask my family to stay. I'm going to build this community up because they were here for me. The more government we have, the less of that we have. And the less of that we have, the less bonds we have in every way. And we're already in trouble with technology, with everything else we're doing. What is killing our kids is not guns. There's been a rise of suicide in children as young as 12. It's not guns. It's not video games. It's none of that. It's loneliness. It's lack of purpose. It's lack of community. That's what's killing our children. And sadly now, that's what's killing our adults too, particularly white males. Lack of purpose, lack of community, and loneliness. That's the killer. Nothing else. Government can't fix that. It is impossible for government to fix that. Only community can repair that. That's it. Nothing else. Community. That's why I do this. I know I was joking and laughing and stuff, but this bothers me personally because some of you know people who've committed suicide. I do too. Some of you do. Suicide's the worst. My father died, and it was horrible, terrible. But imagine if he had committed suicide. Oh my God. Blame me. I'd blame my mother. I'd blame the world. I'd blame everyone. I'd have baggage for. I had enough. I became an asshole when my father died. And if anyone of you known people, kids who've had their parents die when they're young, they become jerks. It's what they do. You feel unfair. Why did I lose my mom? Why not him? Why did I lose my dad? It's what happens to kids when they lose their parents. They become jerks. I was a jerk too. It's what happens. But imagine if my father committed suicide. It's the worst. I'm sorry, I went off on a tangent, but it's a thing that bothers me tremendously. When people commit suicide, the pain that they leave is stronger than them being killed or dying any other way. The pain of suicide is the worst. That's the worst pain. And those of you who know someone close to you who have committed suicide, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's really painful. Yes. COVID gets politicized. That's true. Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. People bonds better than government bonds. 100%. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. I will always help. I volunteer. Peek into the armpit, lift someone up. Yes. That's how it works. Yes. That's how it works. Absolutely. Yes. Rules don't make people closer. People do. I'm so stealing that and giving you like no credit. That is awesome. That's very good. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. All right. It was kind of drop me a happy birthday. Oh, was that for me? I don't know. Happy birthday, Jonathan. I didn't realize. So yes, I appreciate that. Yes. So, all right, guys, it's been 2 hours. I appreciate it. Please do me a favor. As I always say, when you watch this, like, comment, and share. Even if you watch it later, you want to watch me roast Cuomo again, please like, comment, and share while you're watching it later. If you've got some cash, do me a solid. Throw me a couple bucks, 5, 10, 15, 25 bucks. If you got tons of, if you're one of those rich people who shops at CVS, throw me $100. Rich guy, Mr. Monopoly. That's fine. Do that. No worries. But if you don't have any cash, no worries. I know you're doing it, and please keep doing it. Head over to theadvocates.org. Take that test and share it on social media. They're one of my sponsors. They want to get the word out. This is what they want to do. Please help me. It's free. It takes you no more than a minute. Do that and post it, right? If you got the cash, you're a CVS shopper, you got money. So give me the cash, you rich person, if you go to CVS. It's a private joke for those of you who weren't here an hour ago. But any case, do that. If you don't have the money, no worries. This is good. It's a sponsor of mine. They want this show to keep going. Head over there. Please take the test. Even take it again. Take a test and share it online. Share it on Twitter, Facebook, whatever. Share it. Let others see it. It makes my sponsors happy. It makes me happy. And it's free. It takes a minute and we're good. That's all I'm asking you to do. I appreciate it, guys, so much. I will see you all tomorrow.